Nice, the jewel of the French Riviera. It is absolutely stunning. But you knew this already. We just spent 4 days on a mission to see if a vegan could truly experience French culture. And that meant not just finding food, but finding incredible, authentic feeling experiences. We're talking vegan patisseries, aged local cheeses, and even a traditional chickpea pancake called socca. In this video, we are not just giving you a list of restaurants, we are taking you with us on our investigation. We'll show you the spots that blew us away, the ones that didn't, and we'll also give our final verdict on that age-old question. Just how friendly are the French?
So how was the vegan food scene in Nice? Let's find out.
Our first dinner was at Utopia, a 100% vegan Italian restaurant that feels extra special since Nice was once part of Italy, serving up innovative dishes in a friendly fine dining atmosphere. We started with the tronchetta, and it was the first time we were having this rolled up stuffed pizza thingamajig. And we loved it. It was loaded with cheese, tomatoes, and the excellent Lovey ham. More on them later on. The lion's mane steak with fried potatoes was next, and the texture really lives up to the hype. It's not as meaty as it looks, it felt like a cross between mushroom and jackfruit, and that means that it's a flavor sponge and gets so juicy. We enjoyed our meal here and the team is amazing. But let's rewind. Our meal at Utopia wasn't really our first meal. We landed at the airport at 2 p.m. and this is a good time to get into the public transport here. In short, it is absolutely fantastic, just like you'd expect in any European city. There's a dense network of buses and trams and regional trains as well. And of course, at the heart of it, it is designed for pedestrians. So when you have this glorious weather and the place is so walkable, you can do tens of thousands of steps and feel really good about it. But from the airport, there seems to be a bit of a dark pattern. You can only buy the expensive Airport Express tickets from here. To get the regular fare tickets, you'll have to walk to Grand Arenas and purchase your ticket or your card there. The ride from Grand Arenas is 1.7 euro and the ride from the airport is 10 euro. So it's a big saving. And because Nice is so nice to walk around, we stumbled upon Le Country store on our way to dinner. The guy at the counter was friendly and we got this sesame and maple cookie cake hybrid thing, and it was really nice. And next up is my favorite vegan spot in all of Nice, Cabane du Dus, an amazing 100% vegan grocery. Yasmin runs the place and she's always so friendly with everyone walking in. We wanted to try French cheese, so we got the Petit Laurent, this blue cheese by J & Joy, and the very highly rated Lovey honey roast ham. This is the perfect place to create your own French picnic. So we then decided to take all this cheese and bread to the park nearby, because there's always a park nearby.
So intense and strong and fermented, very deep flavor.
What a fantastic start to our trip. But had we peaked too early? Could the rest of the trip match up? Next morning we made breakfast at home. Some of the delicious Lovey ham, both the cheeses, some kebabs from home, some tomatoes and some bread. Next up was the walking tour. It turns out that the guide for the Nice walking tour was also from Mumbai. Sunil was an excellent guide and this was a really informative and fun way to learn about the city. The walking tour ended at Colline du Château, where we took in some of these epic views of the Côte d'Azur. At the park, we had to try some of the chocolates from Cabane du Dus, and they were so good. Pro tip, if you want to avoid the steps, there's a hidden elevator that takes you all the way up. Sunil had recommended Saj for lunch, so that's where we went. It's in the heart of the old town, and the old town is incredibly colorful and charming. We sat outside and the vibe was the highlight of this meal.
Saj is a vegetarian place with marked vegan options on the menu. And we had the daily special, which was a squash soup with a tabula and za'atar bread. Everything was really good and it was great value, because if you order these things separately, it would have been much more expensive. We also tried their baba ganoush, which was also really good. And we ended the meal with a tiramisu cheesecake, which was really good and quite reasonable compared to Nice dessert prices. And we have 4 flavors of cheesecakes. Everything is vegan, so definitely try their cheesecake.
We were then off to Ez, the magical medieval mountain town. Vidhi's sister was here a few years back when she was teaching English in France, and it was her recommendation to come here. Absolutely worth it. You can go by train, but the bus is much cheaper and takes you almost the entire way up. And like every other journey in this area, it's got amazing views. Just opposite the bus stop, we found a spot with a vegan banana bread. But it was really quite dry and surprisingly charred. On our way to S, we had spotted Wakey, a vegan cosmetic shop. Honestly, everything was quite expensive, so we bought a tiny shampoo bar just to try it out. The staff was friendly again, and if this is your kind of spot, you can definitely check it out. We then took the bus back to Nice, and you can't come here and not try socca, the traditional chickpea crepe. We have something similar back home called besan ka chilla, which Vidhi loves. So was she impressed?
So we are right now having socca, which is a Nice specialty, which is accidentally vegan. It's basically besan chilla without veggies. It's good that they have a traditional dish that is accidentally vegan.
Didn't look like she was too impressed, but our socca journey does not end here. More on that later on. But Vidhi was super impressed by this delicious hazelnut gelato at Papilla Glacier. The service is super friendly too. And then we were off again to Cabane du Dus. This time we had to buy some ham and chocolates for our friend Fabio, who we'd be meeting the next day. We also got a croissant and Yasmin was nice enough to give us an extra one on the house. Who said French people are rude? Another good day, and we could not wait for day 3, which was always going to be super special. Next day, we had another breakfast at home and we were off to Sanremo in Italy to meet Fabio, a friend from Bali. We started with an incredible chocolate gelato at Slurp Gelateria.
So good. It's almost like a mousse. The texture.
And for lunch, we were in for a real treat. A homemade Italian meal by our friend Fabio.
Okay, today for my special guest from India, I tried to cook something from Italy that I veganized, of course. These are mushrooms with cream, like vegan cream.
He worked at a restaurant before and it showed some serious chopping skills. And the attention to detail at every step meant that this simple dish was full of flavor.
Hope you will enjoy.
Pappardelle ai funghi. Wow, this was incredible. For dinner, we ended up going to our third country for the day, Monaco. It was tough to find a spot with vegan options, so we ended up at an Indian joint. We ordered samosas, a bhindi masala, bengan bharta, dal, rotis, and rice. The dal was nice, but everything else was just okay. It feels like they are catering to a European level of spice, and that makes sense because we are in Europe. But for us, honestly, it was just okay. The special part of this day was spending it with friends. Fabio picked us up from the train station and drove us around so many beautiful towns and villages. I've noticed similarities between Indians and Italians. How we both think our food is the greatest, and how stubborn we are about trying new things. How emotional we can get about seemingly simple things. And today, it felt like there's a sense of warmth and hospitality that both cultures really prioritize. Our last day starts with breakfast. You know the drill by now. Next up is Amour, a must visit for anyone with a sweet tooth. This spot is a celebrated all-vegan patisserie serving up stunningly beautiful French classics. We couldn't help but start with one, and the opera cake was outstanding. Deep, intense flavors, but effortlessly light. So good. The quiche though was just okay. But I have not liked any savory thing I've had at any French patisserie, not even the ones in Paris. So I think this might be a me thing. But you should definitely come here for the sweet treats. And now back to our Socca adventure. Yasmin from Cabane du Dus and Sunil from the walking tour both recommended the legendary Chez Theresa for their Socca. So that's where we went. It was almost closing time and there was a line. Our man was firing up the last batch. Would anything be left? Would Vidhi be impressed? Well, there was some left. Only for takeaway though.
This one looks much nicer.
This Socca was superb. I loved it and would highly recommend this spot. And more importantly, yes, Vidhi was impressed.
This one is so much thinner and crispier. That makes it so much better than the other one. I really didn't like the other one, but this is really good. So definitely try it out from this place.
What's more challenging than having lunch twice? Yes, it's having lunch 3 times. These are the sacrifices, dear viewer, that we have to make for you. So next up is Not Dog, a vegan hot dog spot right on this buzzing boulevard. It was a lovely sunny day and we got the biggie, le biggie, with cheese, fried onions, mustard and some extra bacon which was recommended.
Really good.
After our third lunch, we were off to Cannes. Vidhi and I are amazing at travel hacks, so to save money, we took the bus, which was just €2.5 instead of the €10 train. And it was a terrible idea. We were stuck in traffic and it was a big waste of time. Maybe we aren't that good at this travel thing? We have so much traffic back home, why didn't we just take the train? It's the best part about Europe. Well, now you know. The film festival was on and we spotted some celebrities, but we mainly just liked chilling on the beach. For dinner, we took the train back to Nice. And after a quick walk to Veje Viver Bem, a new and vibrant Brazilian joint, we thought we'd have to turn back because it was full. But super friendly Jet sat us at the bar and made some fantastic recommendations. I don't know where French people get their reputation. This dude was the friendliest guy I've ever met. The feijoada was really flavorful. It's a rice and beans plate and seitan was the protein of choice. Raul, a Brazilian friend, says that this is the most common pattern of meal in Brazil. He also told us that most Brazilian food is not spicy, but there's always chili in the kitchen. So that's what we got. And we also tried the chickpea for the first time. It's a fritter made from bulgur and seitan. And you know how much I love deep fried things. On a cool night, this food really hit the spot. Obrigado, Jet and team. A lot of the recommendations in this video were by our friend Stephanie Delacroix, a Parisian now living in Bali. So if you don't like something, please send her an email. We covered a lot of ground, but we missed out quite a few spots as well. Paper Plane is a 100% vegan cafe with lots of vegan cafe favorites. La Vie also has a delivery-only burger spot that looked interesting. There's a very popular Thai spot called Savasti that has vegan options. And so do most of the Indian spots. So how was the vegan scene here? The highlight for me was Cabane du Dus and all the wonderful French cheeses and hams we got to try. Aged vegan cheese has come a long way. There aren't too many places to try, but that actually worked out in our favor. Choosing became simple and the spots that do exist almost always delivered. Sometimes in bigger cities with bigger vegan scenes, it can actually become quite confusing. Another highlight was just how many different kinds of spots we got to dine at. At Saj, it was outside in the heart of the old town. At Not Dog, it was on a vibrant boulevard. With Utopia, it was indoors and fine dining. The Takeaway Socca and even the gelato at this spot. And all joking aside, Nice genuinely felt very friendly and welcoming. Remember the ticketing issue at the airport? A local saw us confused and tried his best to help. Our Airbnb host was super friendly too. And of course, so was almost every person we bumped into. And of course, when you add in the amazing town planning and design, the incredible transit, the European summer spirit, the weather, the sea, the mountains, the greens and the breeze, you really can't go wrong.
So if you're planning a trip to Nice, it's time to get really excited.